56 grand in equity. That's what the average homeowner has gained over this past year in equity. Now I'm going to break down some visuals and show you, but before we get into all that, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, all that fun, usual stuff we got to do to grow the channel and keep this thing going. Really appreciate your support. So 56 grand in equity is what the average homeowner has gained over the last year. I'm just going to get right into the visuals and just kind of show you, because I'd rather show you than tell you what's going on. Plus, we know we all like to look at stuff, right? So this map that they just recently came out with is from CoreLogic, which is a national data firm when it comes to real estate that pulls all of the this info and this is from quarter 3, 2021. So this isn't including quarter 4. So this is continuing to rise, but on average, as you can see, the national average of equity that the homeowner has gained is 56,000. Obviously, each state is a little bit different. California, I think, was the highest at 119,000. Then I think followed by Washington, which makes sense because there's a lot of people selling from these states and moving west or warmer or different areas. We got a good amount of people moving from Colorado to Kansas, cashing out on their equity in like Denver, Colorado Springs area, coming to Kansas and settling down, living a little more conservative lifestyle, retired, all that. The average for Kansas is about 30,000. Again, each of your individual situations vary. This has definitely affected the value of your home. We don't know how much until I get to personalize it and hone in on your neighborhood, your home specifically, so we can see just how much equity you've gained. But you have gained equity. We just don't know how much. And then the question is, okay, cool, I got this 56K in equity. What do I do with it? Well, I got a few options for you, and they're not all just, oh, sell your house, sell your house. Like, that's not what we're about here. We want to provide you full solutions so that you get the full range of spectrum of what's possible. One of those is selling a house, but that's not the only thing we're here to provide you and to do, because we're not all about just commissions and everything else there. We truly want you to benefit from this. The first one that we got on is taking out a HELOC, which is abbreviation for home equity line of credit. Meaning, like, let's say you have 100 grand in equity, house is worth 300,000, you owe 200,000, you have 100 grand in equity. Typically, the bank will lend you the difference between 80% of your home's value. So 300,000, where's my phone? Let's do some math real quick on that. 80% of 300,000 is 240,000. If you owe 200,000, you have 40. Like, they will lend you $40,000 essentially. So you could use that for upgrading your house, remodeling, honestly, whatever. Like, it's literally just like cash that they will give you in your bank account. And it's not something you have to draw on. You only pay interest when you draw on it. Kind of act like this, and I hesitate to say this, kind of like a credit card, because this is a little bit what happened in 08 when people were just frivolously doing this and treating their houses like ATMs. Do not do that right now. But you can use your home as a home equity line of credit to tap into some of that trapped equity, trapped cash for several different things. One of them being rentals. So you could take that 40 grand and now put that 40 grand down on a cash flowing rental, whether that be a single family, duplex, triplex, 4-unit, apartment complex, storage unit, depends on how much cash you have and what you can get approved for. You can take that home equity line of credit and leverage that into rentals so that you can get some cash flowing properties. So now you have a real estate portfolio and you're looking at building long-term wealth, setting your kids up for like their college fund. That's also another thing you can do with all this equity. Setting yourself up for retirement. That's also another thing you can do with all this equity. Because the truth is, this equity that's sitting in your house, it is appreciating, but there are other places that you could be leveraging that or using that equity in a better fashion. You know, it's a safe place in your house. It's kind of like your storage savings account is how we like to call it. But ultimately, until you do something with this equity and transact it and make it work for you, it's just kind of sitting there dormant. So you have, my message, big message here is you have a lot more ability than you think. Just reach out to us so we can see how much you have and what you can do with it. And that way you can kind of assess from there. And so how this applies to Wichita specifically is I want to show you some of our local market stats for Wichita. And this is really cool. This is from our local board of realtors, some stats that they put together from tracking all the data that goes on in our market. So if you look at the red line was 2019, green was 2020, and blue is 2021. Just 2 years ago, Wichita's average price point was 160,000. Today, it's closer to 200,000. So over 2 years, we've seen about 40 grand in appreciation on average across Wichita. Now, obviously, each house, each neighborhood is more spot specific. There's certain pockets that appreciate more than others and others that don't. Each house is very specific. Again, that's where a true real estate professional comes in to assess what we could potentially sell your house for and then to pull that off. We're not just all a bunch of ding dong door openers. There's actually a lot of nerdy data science and market specifics that, this is why you pay a realtor in order to do that, to be profitable, because they study this stuff like crazy. But anyway, you can see how 2019 started to bring it in, and then it kind of was volatile. And then same thing with 2020, started bringing it in, but you can see this price point going up and up and up and up and up and up, to where like the new standard for 2020 kind of got set at 200,000. And then if you look at 2021, it dipped a little bit in February, but then honestly, it even got even higher than that. So our average price point might actually be higher than 200,000. I'd have to see exactly where it come out to. I might argue the case that it's more like 210 on everything. But this is honestly this has been a long time coming for Wichita, to be honest with you. Wichita has had real estate that has been undervalued significantly for quite some time. And the pandemic just kind of helped accelerate this. But honestly, people are just figuring out that Wichita is a great place to live, and they're willing to pay more for it. So if you're from Wichita, I think it's an adjustment you're all going to have to get used to. If you're not from Wichita, welcome to the greatest city in the world. Because of our cost of living, we have so much disposable income. That's why entrepreneurs do so well here. It's because people actually have money to spend, and they do. So anyway, that gives you a graphical presentation of how much things accelerated. They're still accelerating. I would say basically you got 2022 to either participate in that appreciation or cash out on that appreciation. Now in 2023, you could still, cash out on the appreciation, but it's probably going to settle down by 2023, and it'll still be appreciating. It just won't be accelerating at this rapid rate. So basically what I'm saying is we are right in the middle of either taking advantage of the opportunity or getting in on the opportunity as far as real estate goes. Because real estate is a big, slow moving industry and market and cycle. And right now we're on an upswing. And so you have one of two options: cashing out and taking advantage of that opportunity, or getting in and being able to participate in the appreciation. And that's why people are willing to pay $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 over asking price in Wichita, is because they're seeing the long-term value of appreciation. People that bought a house with me a year to 2 years ago are happy as hell right now because they bought, even if they had to pay a little bit more, because their house is continuing to go up in value. That's the bigger piece that we're missing out on here, which I'm going to graphically show you here in a sec, is how much is at stake. This is the big piece of this, is how much is at stake if you do not buy a house. And it's way bigger than missing on the 56 grand that you currently have if you are an owner and you bought a year ago. So if you bought a year to 2 years ago, dance for joy. This shit's awesome. Excuse my language. One thing to take into account and to consider with Wichita, this market comes to a screeching halt in December. Everybody just shuts down and does nothing but holidays. And that's why you see closings in January and February slow. In January, the buyers start to come back around. February, the sellers start to come around, put their house on the market. And then that's why you see March and April just skyrocket up. It just goes from 600, bang, all the way up to like 1,100 in a matter of like 2-3 months. So it almost doubles in size in 2-3 months in our market. So that's how sporadic and spontaneous our market is. But you can also kind of see, this is interesting to see, like 2020, the green one, where it's like this thing was all over the place, up, then down, up, down, up. Like that shit is crazy. And honestly, it's hard to handle for most people. 2019, that's right when like the pandemic hit and things were getting a little crazy. Things were going on, but it definitely dipped in number of volatility. But then 2021, this honestly looks more like a normal market. And this is where I see the year looking 2022 looking a lot like 2021 in the regards that it usually follows kind of a mountain is what I want to call for the Wichita market. So that helps gain you perspective. Now, the big one, the big thing about buying a house. This is what they're projecting the price appreciation to be over the next 5 years for a $350,000 house. $111,285 is what you're missing out on if you don't buy a house now. Basically, the concept is if you don't enter the real estate market, you don't buy a house now, you don't get to take advantage of all this appreciation. And that's, again, why it's worth it. It makes sense to pay $5, $10, $15, $20,000 over asking price because you're not, quote unquote, overpaying for it. You're paying what it takes to get the house so that you can capitalize on this appreciation. But more importantly, like, people buy houses because they want a home because of the life situation that's going on. They're getting married, they're having kids, they want to upgrade, status reasons. There's all kinds of reasons from personal life situations that people buy houses. We look at this money and we look at, I can make all this. We want to make a smart investment, but ultimately at the end of the day, you buy these things based on your life decisions, life situations. But I'm showing you from a financial gain perspective what you have to miss out on. This number right here should honestly be more motivating than the 56 grand the owners currently made. Basically what it is if you don't buy a house, you're missing out on 111,000 in appreciation. So hopefully this has helped you kind of like take a different perspective on what's at stake, what's possible, what you're going to miss out on if you don't choose to enter the market, if you don't get a house. That's why it's more critical than ever to have an aggressive, proactive, smart, strategic realtor like ourselves here at Team Home Hero that knows how to win in this market, not just, hey, I got a license and I can open the door and I can write a contract and email it over. But there's a lot of high level marketing and sales strategies that we employ in order to get you the best possible service, is why we are crushing it so much. This market definitely helps us. I'm not going to deny that, but ultimately it's more our service model is why that we are expanding so much here at Team Home Hero. The opportunity is there as a realtor. The opportunity is also there as a buyer and seller. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it comes down to helping people out, and performing these activities than trying to just be this lazy, greedy realtor. So that's definitely not what we're about. So hopefully this has helped you guys learn a little bit more what's at stake as a seller. 56 grand is equity that you got in your house on average. Reach out and we'll assess your personal home. And then as a buyer, the opportunity is to get to partake in 111 grand in appreciation over the next 5 years. So take that into account. Also from a national standpoint, like I showed you, then our local standpoint, like I showed you. Hopefully this has helped you learn a little bit more about real estate right now today. And appreciate you watching as always. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Go to our website. There's plenty of ways to get a hold of us, all that fun stuff. Appreciate you watching. See you guys later.